There we go.
Yes. What's good, African family? Welcome back to the Black Scholar and the African Wahala. We are collaborating in a reaction video to Natasha Akpoti. We all know, or at least if you've been following the news in the African political space, the Nigerian Senate suspended a female lawmaker. She's the one on the screen for quote unquote misconduct. But what really happened is that this lady on the screen, she's a senator. She accused another senator of sexual harassment. And it turns out that the senator that she accused is the Senate president. Now, me, I'm a Nigerian, so I have a certain perspective about the Nigerian Senate, and I'm here with my American brother, also African, black scholar, and he's going to share his own perspective. Okay, that's what this live stream is about. So we're going to start with Natasha Akpoti. She had an interview with the BBC, British Broadcasting Communications, and to cut a long story short, I'll give you a quick summary. She was suspended for accusing the Senate president of sexual harassment. She ended up traveling abroad and complaining to some other parliamentarians from around the world under the United Nations, the IPU. The IPU is a subcommittee in the UN made up of parliamentarians from different parts of the world, and a lot of things have happened. Okay, let me just jump straight into the video and listen to what she has to say.
It started in the year 2023 on the 8th of December. We were at his country home. He was taking me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, held my hand. And we got to this particular room where when he noticed my husband was a few steps away, he then squeezed my hands in a very suggestive way. Where women, we know what it means when a man squeezes his hands, squeezes our hands in a suggestive way. And he went, I'll make an opportunity for us to come here and have a good moment, along that line. And then I just took my hands off and I looked back. I saw my husband was near us. My husband looked at me as if he heard some part of that, but he wasn't so sure. So he looked at him as well. And then the Senate president, of course, sensing the awkward moment, now said, oh, there's a chapel over there as well. Let's go. Let me show you the chapel. He had a chapel in his house. So we went there. So my husband asked me a few moments afterwards, what did he tell you? And I didn't want to cause any friction because we were very good friends. My husband respected him a whole lot. So I said,
sorry. So I had to pause there, and I already have a lot of things to say. Let me start by introducing myself, the African Wahala. I do not like any Nigerian politician. So with that being said, I don't even like Natasha Akpoti. Personally, I don't like her because she's a politician. And the reason is, for you to get into the Nigerian political space, you have to have a dirty mind. You have to be able to dine with the devil, because the Nigerian political space is a criminogenic entity that requires you to partake in crime, to loot, to steal people's money, and crush people in order for you to thrive within the political space. So the fact that Natasha is a politician, she already failed that test, in my opinion. However, I believe everything she says. All her accusations on Akpabio is the Senate president. I 100% believe the accusations for so many reasons. But based on what she just said in this video, she was with her husband in Akpabio's house. Akpabio was walking her, holding her hands while the husband was walking behind them. And then at some point, the husband was away from the view. And then he quickly made a comment to her that, oh, we're going to have fun in this mansion of mine. And then right after that, he jumps into showing her a cathedral, or like a she said a word now, maybe like a church. So I have a lot of things to say about that, but I don't want to go too deep into this. let me let my brother Black Scholar give his perspective so far on everything that has been going on with Natasha Akpoti-Akpabio. What do you think about the scandal? What do you think about the Nigerian Senate? Just, in a quick, brief explanation, what do you think about those?
Well, good evening, everyone. This is the Black Scholar. It's welcome. It's good to be back after a long hiatus. And I want to thank my brother, the African Wahala, for coming up with this idea about this topic. I had just shared it with him, and he thought on the spot we could just do this. And I thought it was good because we really needed to address the issue. Um, and it's so similar, so many similarities. You can see the situation where leaders abuse their power, no matter where they are, whether it's in Nigeria, whether it's Turkey, whether it's United States or elsewhere. You see the same patterns. People get into power and then they turn around and abuse it. I've heard bits and pieces on this about this story for the past 2 or 3 months. Um, I believe her too. You can feel, I mean, that she's her pain, and I believe her too. And we talked about this Senate president before, how corrupt he was, and how he was taking bribes in order to choose um, uh, who would be on this committee or that committee, and who would be the governor of this and whatnot, and whether uh, who would get appointments to cabinet positions. I think that's how Wiki got in there. I think we talked about that. But it's specifically this instance, I mean, it just shows how bold and arrogant this is. I mean, it's just so odd. I can't imagine a man just being so bold to just try to hit on another man's wife while that man is present, you know. And then I thought it was odd that they even were holding hands. I think that was totally inappropriate.
Yep.
But I mean, it's different culture. I mean, United States, that would not be acceptable. A husband would be holding a hand, if anything. He definitely wouldn't be walking behind it. It would be the two men walking together talking, and the wife would be either beside her husband or behind him. So I thought that was odd.
Bro, I need to say something. You said something that in the United States, it's inappropriate for a man to hold another man's wife, especially in his presence. I think it's inappropriate everywhere else in the world, to be honest, because me growing up in Nigeria, that is yes, we have some weird culture sometimes, but that is not part of the weirdness where another man can hold someone else's wife in his presence. That's just disrespectful.
So yeah, I just but it was, that's what blew my mind. And then the reason I say it may have been different is because what ethnicity is this woman?
Um, so this woman, I believe she's mixed race. Her
Okay,
mom is probably from Eastern Europe. I'm not 100% sure. I heard she's mixed race. I mean, she's light skinned. You know,
right.
you can see she has some features of, like a mixed race person. Her
Okay,
dad is from Kogi. Yes, because she's a Kogi senator. So I'm not entirely sure her
okay,
ethnic group, the particular group
okay,
from, but I know her dad is from Kogi State,
okay.
which is in the north central part of Nigeria.
Okay. And what about the Senate president? What's his name again?
Akpabio it goes by the
Apakio.
name
Apakio.
Godswill Akpabio. Godswill
Apakio.
Akpabio is from Akwa Ibom,
Mm-hmm.
and his ethnic group, I'm not even 100% sure, but the Akwa Ibom people, I don't think they have more than 5, 6 ethnic groups in that state.
Okay.
So it's probably from one of the most popular ones there, Akwa
Okay.
Ibom.
The only reason I even brought this up was because I thought, well, maybe because we know how the Fulani and the Hausa run Nigeria, and how it's almost cult like, to no pun intended, how they have so much power and control, and how the political the people there have in the northern part of the country, um, all the leaders fall in line.
Yeah.
you know so I thought maybe the guy was being deferential to this man because of their culture. We had a video about that once before, how African leaders abuse their cultural patterns. You know, we did the one about the lady in Uganda,
Yeah.
and how she was lording over her people who came to them for help, her for help. So I thought that might have been the same situation, but
Yeah.
I don't know. But let's continue with the video.
Yeah.
I said, you know what, Natasha, hold this up, resist it. It's going to be fine. You can manage it. What I thought I was going to manage just didn't seem so. Episode after episode, moments after moment.
So it was multiple times?
Yeah, it was multiple times.
Did the Senate President ever make any sort of advances towards you in the chamber or in the Senate?
Yes, in front of senators. He's done that. There was a time I forgot to wear my ring. I rushed to work, forgetting to wear my ring. And there were about 5 senators there. And he was, oh, Natasha, you're not wearing your ring. Is this an invitation to treat? And then there was another time he made a statement like, Natasha, your husband is really enjoying. It looks like you'll be able to make good movements with your waist.
So the Senate President said this?
He says that, yeah, he makes such sexist statement, and then they all laugh.
When the Senate President allegedly made this comment to you, there were other senators present?
Yeah. They said, in the Senate, we're all men.
So I'm sorry, I had to quickly pause on that one. You know, that comment that she just made, the Senate President, in the presence of other male senators, asked this woman, just made some sexual comment, oh, your waist, you can wind your waist properly. That doesn't sound strange to me in any way, shape, or form. I believe 100% in that comment. It's something these guys will say. Because you see, I'll be very honest, as someone that emerged from Nigeria, we have that culture. And it's not something that anybody should be proud of. I know some of you guys are going to watch this video and you're going to be like, oh, this guy is a sellout. This guy is bad mouthing his culture. No, I'm not proud of. Listen, that is part of our culture, and I'm not proud of it. It's disgusting. Why would you feel like you can make disparaging comments towards a woman in the presence of other men? By the way, in the Nigerian Senate, it's made up of 95% men and 5% women. There are only 4 female senators in 2025 Nigerian Senate. And how many senators are there in the country? I believe 108. So out of 108 senators, 4 are women, 104 are men. So what do you expect? What do you expect? I mean, the women are struggling. Let's keep it 100. I'm honest with ourselves. And if a woman is having to receive those types of sexual comments and they all just laugh about it like, oh, it's not a big deal. That's how we are. We are so rich. We are so powerful. Just take it. You too, as a woman, you're so rich. You're so powerful too. After all, you're a politician. Don't cry and complain. And she never cried and complained until recently. So I'm not surprised about her comments. I believe her 100%. And it's definitely unacceptable in any civilized society. But, brother, what is your reaction to this? Imagine these types of, I know in America, yes, of course, it's a man's world at the end of the day. And I apologize to my women, but it's the truth. It's a man's world. Because the way the world is set up, men are the ones mostly in control. And men have the physical advantage, and that alone puts men on a pedestal. That doesn't mean that as a solid man, you're not going to respect women. You're not going to try to give women as much as possible. Not even give. You should respect women 100%. Okay. That's me personally. I'm surrounded by women. I have daughters, wife. So I will always respect women. But at the end of the day, it's a man's world. And with that being said, even in a country like the United States of America, where they have gone a long way in terms of managing gender, imbalances, you will still find in 2025 that the men are dominating, and it's unfortunately it is what it is. That's how the world is. But what do you have to say about this, brother? About this lady's comments?
Well, first off, this is not a Nigerian thing. Remember, we just elected a man twice who said we can grab the women in the pussy.
Facts. Yeah.
Trump said that. Okay.
Yeah.
And so no, that's the problem the world over. And then this makes me think of the Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill situation where he said, well, she alleged that he said he made references to a porn star named Long Dong Silver, and that he had a Coke can, and he looked at it, and he said, whose pubic hair is this in my Coke? You know, just crazy stuff. So I can see that happening, whether here or in Nigeria. But I think more hell to pay here. But these things still go on. Nonetheless, it just shows. I mean, the corruption to the core of the Nigerian Senate. I mean, all those men left. None of them were gas. None of them. Hey, man, this is a married woman. And then most of those guys are Muslims, so she's Muslima. Muslim men supposed to respect the woman. Islam was very important. Strong on respecting women. And nobody thought to say anything to him about that. So but I believe him, and the fact that she's been punished and suspended is further proof of that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, let me keep playing the video.
She should be used to this.
How did the other senators respond to that?
Just laugh. The culture of shaming a woman who dares speak of something that is like a taboo is real. And that is that culture we must break and shred.
So when you presented your petition for sexual harassment, it was dismissed by the Senate on procedural grounds. They said it was inadmissible because you signed it yourself. Were you aware that this was a requirement?
No. They said that I had no right to sign the petition myself. I am not supposed to sign my petition because a senator is receiving petitions from her or his constituents. But here, first time in the history of Nigeria, a senator is laying a sexual harassment petition seeking justice. When I submitted the petition on the 5th of March 2025, I was suspended the next day from the Nigerian Senate.
The Senate say that you were suspended for, quote, gross misconduct and unruly behavior, and not because you brought sexual harassment allegations against the Senate president. How would you respond to that?
When they say my suspension was as a result of gross misconduct, that is not true. We have seen senators shout, scream, use insultive words, fight, tear each other's clothes, but they were not suspended. So I believe also, again, that I am being victimized. My suspension is a means of silencing me. You see, in the Nigerian Senate, it operates like a cult. Even the opposition have been silenced. You wonder, why is the Nigerian Senate not as vibrant as that of South Africa's or Kenyan? I mean, there are other parliaments we see. There is this culture of fear.
Fear of who?
Fear of the institution, fear of the leadership, fear of the Senate president. I mean, if you confront...
I'm so sorry, brother. I have to come in on this one. This lady is exposing some really, really good stuff because these are cultural norms within the Nigerian political space that nobody has been able to expose in the history of Nigeria. And she's saying the fact. She referring to the Nigerian Senate as a cult. As a matter of fact, let me just find a couple of examples to prove to you that the Nigerian Senate is absolutely cult-like. When I say cult-like, these guys have so much fear for the people that are in the leadership. If you happen to be the Senate president, so-called number 3 citizen in the country, which to me is stupid, because they often say the president is the number 1 citizen, the vice president is the number 2 citizen, and the Senate president is the number 3 citizen. Garbage, if you ask me, because all these guys that have been there since the inception of Nigeria, they've never been there for the benefit of the Nigerian people or the environment. But let's talk a little bit about the cult-like behavior of the Nigerian Senate. Just in the last maybe in the last 10 years.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
Okay.
I just want to say fair use, which is educational material. It's fair use for us to use the BBC interview. Fair use.
Fair use. Thank you very much for that one. I never would have thought of that, to be honest. So please, fair use. educational purposes only. We're just reacting to the video. Let's talk about budget padding culture in the Nigerian Senate. It's normal during Buhari's time, even before Buhari's time, during Obasanjo's time, Yaradua, Jonathan, they all manipulated the Senate for their own benefit. So they usually work hand in hand. I'm talking about the executive arm of government and the legislative arm of government. Nigeria has two chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Forget about the House of Representatives for now. They are quite useless. The only thing they do is go there, make money, use their connects to get contracts and make more money, while 80% of the population remains in abject poverty. That's all they do. But in the upper chamber that is made up of the Senate, that is the real legislative arm of government, and they work hand in hand with the executive. Budget padding. This guy is usually, for the most part, whenever the executive brings in the budget, oh, this is the budget for this year, review it, get back to me. Do you approve the entire budget, or do you want to remove some items? There is so much bribery and corruption. The senators add more money to the budget numbers. This is how crazy it is. And it's well documented. All you need to do is just go on Google search budget padding by the Nigerian Senate. You will find tons and tons and tons of articles, people that have been exposed with clear evidences for budget padding, but they never go to jail, because the prisons are only made for the poor people. The wealthy politicians, they never ever go to jail. Let's talk about Bukola Saraki, former Senate President. Bukola Saraki, accused of false asset declaration, okay, because they often want them to declare what they have, during the auditing process, to make sure that, for example, as a public office holder, you don't have bank accounts in a foreign country, just to curb corruption. But it's all fake. Bukola Saraki was proven to have falsely declared his assets. But what happened to that in that situation? Absolutely nothing. This was in 2018. The Code of Conduct Tribunal eventually cleared him of all the charges that same year, 2018. Everybody, well, a lot of so-called Nigerians believed it was politically motivated. While many other people saw it as, another corruption situation within the Nigerian Senate. Also, Ahmed Lawan, the guy that succeeded Bukola Saraki, they used to call this guy the rubber stamp senator, because all he did as the Senate president was to make sure that Buhari was successful in destroying the economy of Nigeria and introducing terrorism to a level that has never been seen. Okay, and then we also have this same guy, Godswill Akpabio, the current Senate president in 2020. You see, Godswill Akpabio, this guy that is the current Senate president, he did not even contest officially in an election to become a senator, talk more of a Senate president. It was through pure corruption. Okay, Buhari and Tinubu, they worked magic and they brought Akpabio to become the Senate president. Prior to that, he was under investigation by the EFCC for looting 44 billion naira as a governor. Okay, as a governor of Akwa Ibom State. He was a governor for 8 years. He stole trillions of naira, but they were able to pin 44 billion to his name. While under investigation, one time he was even arrested, they called him back and arrested the head of the EFCC, put that guy in jail, and made Akpabio the Senate president. In 2020, while Akpabio was standing trial for another looting case, because he was also the minister of the NDDC, the Niger Delta Commission. While he was the minister, he was accused of stealing 108 billion naira. He was under investigation. They brought him to the Nigerian Senate. In the presence of the Senate, a minister that was accused of stealing money, he said, listen, you guys are accusing me of stealing this money, but we all know that the beneficiary of all these contracts from the Niger Delta Ministry are the senators, the House of Representative members. You guys are the main beneficiaries. And while he was making that statement, the main senator guy that headed that committee that was investigating him for the corruption started saying, "Off your mic, off your mic." So it's a very popular phrase within the Nigerian political space. If you ever heard anyone say, "Off your mic, off your mic," that's turn off your microphone. Because Akpabio was exposing them for being the beneficiary of the fraud, looting money from as a minister of the Niger Delta. The beneficiaries are the senators. And then the senator guy interrogating him told him, "Turn off your microphone. You've said enough. We don't need to hear more." At the end of the day, the 108 billion naira went missing forever. Nobody went to prison. Akpabio, instead of going to prison, became the Senate president. But I've ranted for so long, my dear brother.
Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, you know, Nigerian senators make more than U.S. senators, and most U.S. senators make about 170, 180,000 a year. Nigerian senators make that every month. So it doesn't surprise me that they're repadding their budgets and stealing whatever appropriations that they make.
Ridiculous. So I mean, why would the wealthiest country in the world, the senators of the wealthiest countries in the world, be making less money than the senators of the poverty capital of the world? And I'm not making this up. Nigeria has been tagged as the poverty capital of the world for close to 8 years. Okay. And America has been tagged as the wealthiest country of the world for like 200 years. I don't know, for a very long time. So the senators in Nigeria are making more money per month than the senators in America. Make that make sense. That's how corrupt the Nigerian political system is. But I'm just going to keep on playing the video. We can finish the reaction. Thank you for joining us in the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. You know, click on the like button.
Front the Senate President, or if you express contrary views, yeah, you risk a chance of being stripped of your privileges. You will not speak. If you are a member of certain committees, like what happened to me, you will be removed. You will be sidelined of very important programs that you think could help project your own expertise. You will be cut off a lot of privileges. And that is undemocratic.
You've spoken about the intimidation that you faced and victim shaming. What kind of impact has all of this had on you?
People don't understand what it means to carry this. Maybe we don't talk about it enough in Nigeria, maybe in Africa. I just wanted a place where I would just work. I thought the worst was over. I thought the worst was over. But I guess for a woman, it's never really over, right? I should be seen as a colleague, a senator. I should be given my due respect, my rights in that space. But to have to be faced with that, I think it's wrong. But I'm glad no matter what, I have the courage to speak up. And I believe what I've done will accord more women the courage to speak up.
Are you worried about your safety at all?
Of course I am.
Sorry, before we get into that safety part of the conversation, at the end of the day, I might not like all Nigerian politicians, including her, just because you're a politician, but I respect what she's doing because it's going to, create more confidence among female public servants that are going through similar things in our society. And I know that a lot of females are going through this. Even when I was in the university, it was normal for my female colleagues to be harassed by the male professors because there is no justice. You're on your own. You don't have a society where, as a university student, if a male professor is sexually harassing you, there is nobody for you to run to. If you actually go and report that situation, you might be the one that ends up getting rusticated from university. So that's the kind of society we've had, and we are sick and tired of that society. But what do you think about that, brother?
I agree with you 100%. It's just what she's saying, it really resonated, and I'm not the most, I'm not a feminist at all. I'm more of a masculinist, but I do resonate and I do feel her pain. I agree with what you said. Um, I'm what I'm seeing, the fact that she's able to do this says that the page is starting to turn in Nigeria. I think more people are speaking out about it. Tinubu has been so inept that people are really challenging him
Yeah.
and challenging just the Nigerian establishment and the political structure. So I think this shows that this is a chink in the armor of that corrupt system, and that things are starting to change slowly but surely.
Yep.
It's going to get worse before it gets better, but I think this is an indication that the things was changing there.
Nice. We're slowly getting to that point where people are getting sick and tired. And it's reminding me of the current 30-day rant challenge going on in Nigeria. Just go to Twitter today or X platform and see tons of Nigerians complaining about their living conditions in the country. For the most part, lots of Nigerians avoid speaking about that because they get arrested, kidnapped by the Nigerian government for complaining about the dire situation in the country. But now that a ton of people have come out at the same time during the 30-day rant challenge, it's impossible for the government to deploy their corrupt police and soldiers to arrest all these people. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%. The tide is changing. More people are getting more confident. But at the same time, I'm going to manage my expectations. I will manage my expectations as far as this revolution is concerned, because I've seen many peaks and troughs in the past where I thought it was the spark that we needed to kick out these rogues that have kept us impoverished. But it didn't happen. But we'll see where this goes to. So let me play this last part of the clip.
One of the conditions attached to my suspension is withdrawing my security. If I'm going grocery shopping, if I'm taking my kid on a walk, because I have a 2-year-old, will I be killed? Will I be attacked? I have this just run through my head immediately.
I mean, the response to the allegation.
Sorry, I have to quickly react to that part. You see, I don't like Nigerian politicians. I do not like them. She is sounding entitled to me. If part of the consequences of your suspension is the withdrawal of your security, I don't care personally, because me as a regular Nigerian, I don't have security. You politicians, okay, you use the police as your private security. And this is a country where we don't even have enough police officers. So the few police officers that exist, you corrupt politicians already use them as your personal security guards. And you expect me to feel sorry for you because they've taken away your security? In my opinion, this is a case of the corruption that you were a part of has come back to bite you, and you're crying to my face about your security. Bro, lots of people are losing their lives every day. There is no police to go rescue them. Armed robbers, home evasions happen. People call police officers, hey, there are armed robbers in our place. Police will not pick up your phone. Police will tell you straight up, hey, are you going to send us money to buy fuel in our car? Or the police will say, oh, we can't come because we don't know the kind of weapons the armed robbers have. These are the types of ridiculous stuff that you hear from the Nigerian police. So if you are crying and complaining about your security details taken away from you, I'm happy. But what do you say about that, brother?
I mean, I didn't hadn't thought about that aspect of it, but I felt fear for her safety. I mean, what if she's assassinated? I mean, you think that's a possibility, a serious possibility, that people linked to this senator or people who are sympathetic with him will try to kill this woman or kidnap her?
I mean, it's possible. It's possible, but do I really feel sympathy for her? I don't. I'm sorry, I don't, because do you know how many hundreds of thousands of Nigerians have lost their lives in the last 10 years and nobody gives a damn about them? Nobody. In Kogi State, where she's from, she's a senator in Kogi State. People are getting killed every single day. And these so-called politicians, they come and go, the killings continue, the poverty continues, and these politicians that come and go, they all become billionaires after they've passed through that corrupt political system. So I have no mercy for any politician. I'm sorry, if you lose your life in the process for being a Nigerian politician, so be it. That's my opinion.
Okay, well, my thing is, if she does, if because she someone of her stature, it can have either a chilling effect on dissent in Nigeria, or it can inspire people to take more action because it's an outrage that someone would murder a woman or any political figure, but particularly a female political figure.
Yeah.
So some of her stature. So I don't know, but I do think, I mean, obviously she's wealthy, so she probably can afford her own security.
Exactly.
But it was sending a message to intimidate her.
Yeah,
I do agree with that.
Yeah, it's a case of corruption. The fact that it took away her security, that is corruption. But do I feel sorry for her? I don't, because I don't feel sorry for Nigerian politicians personally.
Has been huge. Did you expect this? I mean, it's quite divided what the response has been. Did you foresee this type of outcome?
I focus on the positive statements and remarks that have come from the media. I appreciate the support I've gotten from Nigerians within the diaspora and even the international communities. I have gotten on daily basis calls from fellow parliamentarians of Africa, in Africa, women connecting with me and telling me they are experiencing the same thing in their parliament, even as MPs, but that they can't speak up. And they say, Natasha, do this for us.
Okay, we've gotten to the end of the video, but I need to react to this last part. Look at this statement. One of the senators, so the deputy chief whip, Senator Onyekachi Nwebonyi, said, at no time during the period in question did the Senate President make any unwanted sexual advances to Senator Akpoti at his country house or make inappropriate comments at the Senate premises. How does he know that? That's part of the cult-like behavior she was talking about. He wasn't there. There is no way he could have known if Akpabio, who I believe made those advances, 100%. As a matter of fact, there are tons of stories right now that people have anonymously released on social media showing evidences of Akpabio's randy innuendos across Nigeria. This guy has been sleeping with movie stars, sleeping with all types of stars and celebrities that you've heard about, and you'll be surprised. And I'll send you some content after this, brother. Akpabio is a randy guy who has no control over his sexual urge. That's who Akpabio is. And he's also a thief. This is the African Wahala speaking, okay? Because if you're not a thief, how come you've been accused a couple of times of stealing billions, hundreds of billions of naira, and you magically eloped prosecution all the times? Because you're connected to the most corrupt people that are in control of the contraption. So we all know that Akpabio is a thief and he is also randy. He has no control over his sexual urge, right? And this cult-like behavior by the other senator, the chief whip, Onyekachi or Onyebuchi, whatever the guy's name was, talking about Akpabio never made that sexual advances. He never knew about that. But he is obligated to support Akpabio even if he has no evidences, and that is the cult-like behavior within the Nigerian Senate and the Nigerian political space by extension. So thank you so much, brother. This is my final part of the reaction. Do you have any other thing to say about Akpabio, Natasha Akpoti, the Nigerian, the corruption within the Nigerian political space, the corruption with impunity within the Nigerian political space?
Yes, I just want to note that this has been broadcasted by the BBC in the UK, and it's going to be shown all around in Western media spaces all around the world. And of course, it's always brought out that this is an African thing, or this is unique to us, and this doesn't happen in the West. And of course, we know it does.
Yeah.
So you have to always understand that this is not just there's always a hidden agenda behind any story, and especially something published by the BBC or any Western media outlet. There's always some sort of propaganda, anti-African, anti-Black propaganda. However, it does not detract or deflect from the fact that there's corruption going on in Nigeria with this particular Senator, President of the Senate, Akpabio. And I think Senator Akpoti's allegations are true. We will see if there's she gets any justice on that, but I do believe her allegations. And it just shows one more thing that Nigerians have to fight and deal with on a daily basis. And then, as you say, in that contraption called Nigeria.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for this reaction, brother. I'm so happy that we could do this, honestly. And hopefully we can do more similar videos reacting. Honestly, we should react to I feel like we should talk about the similarities between American electorate and Nigerian electorate. Because the emergence of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Vance, that guy Vance, Rubio, those guys are so similar, eh? Rubio reminds me of this guy. Marco Rubio is the American version of Reno Omokri. Do you know why I said that?
Why?
I seen a video of Marco Rubio in 2016 calling Donald Trump, oh, he's a scammer. Oh, he's a fraudster.
Right. Right.
And then in 2025, oh, he's going to be the greatest president in the history of the United States.
Well, his own vice president, J.D. Vance, was saying the same thing in 2016.
Holy
and next thing you know, he runs for Senate and he changes his tune. And then next thing you know, he's friends with the president's son. And next thing you know, he's a nominee for the vice president on the Republican Party. So it's the same thing. All these guys are phony ballooners, and they all are corrupt, and they're trying to use each other. So yeah, and as I said, there is a lot of similarities between the United States and Nigeria, and just so human societies around the world in general.
Yeah.
You see the situation going on in Turkey right now. That guy fomented a coup in 2016, and now he's arrested his opponents again in 2025. So he's been president in power for like 20 years. So it's the same thing. But yeah, I would love to do it. We just have to get together and set a time. But I'd love to do it, man. And it's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Working with you again tonight, and I look forward to this airing soon.
All right, me too. Thank you so much. And
right.
Everyone, if you like the content, feel free to click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video.
Right.
Peace.
Peace.
Yes, sir.